Hello, everyone, and welcome into your weekend reading. This is for Saturday, March 2nd and Sunday, March 3rd. So we're going to take a look at what are the energies that are trying to come in for you from God, Spirit, the Divine. And we'll stick with this newer format where I'll take a look at the energy for the collective in general, and then I'll do the sign groupings like I do for the regular daily read. But then after I finish up with that sign, I'll pull a couple cards for each individual zodiac sign so you can get a little bit more tailored of a message for you for this weekend. So, all right, let's jump in here and let's see what wants to come out. So for the collective in general, we have Four of Cups in reverse, we have the Chariot in reverse, and then we have Judgment. So overall, energy-wise, there's a sense of self-awareness, and you're kind of accepting maybe what you can't change. Some of this also has this slower energy, though. So with the Chariot in reverse, normally, you know, that the Chariot has that fast moving, you're overcoming the obstacles, but that's not really the case right now. So now things have kind of stagnated a little bit more, and realizing that there's some things that you can't change. That's not an obstacle that you're going to be overcoming. And with the Judgment card coming in, that is about letting divine judgment pass. So normally that's a favorable, kind of like favorable judgment by the divine. And in this situation, some of it's kind of reading like, you know, because when you get to the Judgment card, that's about you're learning your lessons. You're almost done. You're almost wrapping up that cycle. You know, you're taking the final exam for that class and you're about ready to be done with it. And I think there's a sense of, I'll call it spiritual maturity, when you realize that you're accepting that some things can't change and that the solution to it is not necessarily just keep trying, just keep trying. And so there's that sense of self-awareness that comes with, okay, I've been trying and I've given it my best effort and it's just not working. So, so I think there's some, like I said, some spiritual or emotional maturity that comes with that when you realize that, but you're not wallowing. So with this Four of Cups in reverse, this isn't about wallowing like, oh my gosh, things are never going to change. Woe is me. It's accepting it and accepting that sometimes that's part of life's lessons, is that things don't change. So, and it's a matter of how do you deal with that? How do you address it going forward? So that's kind of the overall energy that's sitting out there. Let's go ahead and jump in to our sign groupings and see what more specific message is coming in. Actually, here, I'll push these back because they're not in frame right now anyway. All right, let's start with our earth signs today. That's going to be our Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, and what message is coming through for you. We have the Hierophant. So this is that mentor, guru, structured type of energy. It's usually a very traditional type of energy. So some of this accepting what can't be changed as it relates to a very conventional or traditional thing. So whether that's if you've had, you know, a long time, you've had a specific job and you're just really not happy with it. And so maybe it's that traditional thinking of, well, but I have to have a job. I have to do this. If it's in a relationship, if you're married and you're unhappy, you know, that this is what you're starting to accept, is that some things aren't going to change. So if you've been trying to improve the relationship and it's just not working, it's kind of that acceptance of, okay, well, maybe this isn't going to change. So then what do I do with that knowledge that it's not going to change? How do I proceed going forward with the next steps in my life? And so there's this element of, you know, whatever your traditional structure is that you're accepting now that it's not going to change. There's also an element with the Hierophant of maybe you're finding some sort of a guru or a teacher or a mentor that can help you navigate through what does that mean for you? What does that look like? All right, let's take a look at Moon card. You and your loved ones are safe. So if this is a scenario where you've been avoiding acting on something because you don't know what that's going to look like for you and your loved ones. And safe, it could mean physically safe, it could mean financially safe, it could mean a lot of different things. But if you knew everyone in your life would be okay if you made whatever decision is in here, what would that decision be? So okay, the card that flipped was Pele. Divine passion. Be honest with yourself. What is your heart's true desire? So if the message here is about like a traditional relationship that's falling and you're accepting what can't change, what's in your heart? I mean, do you really want to keep chasing something that's not working? Or, like if you knew that your loved ones were safe, what was your heart telling you to do? All right, and last card, right path, wrong approach. So, so for some of you, it could be a situation, and this kind of popped out, with some of these blues here. It's almost like if you were feeling, this may be a bad example, if you were feeling stuck in, or I guess whether it's a job or a relationship, if you were feeling stuck and you don't want to be in it, but you don't want to be the bad guy, are you trying to get out of it by sabotaging, or if it's a work situation, are you intentionally not really doing as good of a job as you can because you're hoping you're going to get fired so that you don't have to quit? If it's a relationship, are you just not giving any effort? Are you starting fights with the other person? Are you talking to somebody else instead? Like what are the things that you're doing? So kind of like in terms of right path, like, okay, if the right path is to leave, how are you going about leaving? Are you doing it with, I'll call it dignity and grace, or are you trying to create some, dumpster fire of a situation, almost like you're not really sure that you want to do it, so you're gonna burn this bridge good, so that it has to end. All right, let's take a look for individual signs and see what other messages come out. So we'll start with our Taurus. Two that came out. 3 of Swords in reverse, and then 5 of Wands. So 5 of Wands is about conflict. And so, like I said with this other one, if you're thinking, okay, I want to get out of the situation, like I don't want to be in it anymore, but what you're doing is you're picking fights because you're hoping that, okay, if I piss the other person off enough, they're going to leave, and then I can be like, okay, well, they left. That's not probably the best way to go about doing it. Like if you're done, just be done, but don't do it like that. Or if it's a work situation, causing conflict within your team so that the team falls apart and so you all fail at this task that you're supposed to be doing, that's also not helpful. So, with the 3 of Swords in reverse, there is a little bit of that sense of like moving on as well, like getting over this heartbreak. Like maybe you're picking fights because you're hurt. And so it's kind of that sense of, okay, like, let's be done with this cycle of just fighting and hurting each other. So that's, and that goes along here also with this. What is your true desire? If your desire is to just be done, then just be done. But don't sit here and keep picking fights because you're scared to move on to the next point in your life. Okay, so that was for Taurus. Let's take a look at Virgo and see what messages are coming up for Virgo. We have our 3 of Cups and we have our 8 of Cups. So your 3 of Cups energy, that's that celebration, that friendship, that happy energy. And then your 8 of Cups is letting go and just kind of being done, so it's almost like, and I would say they probably go the other direction, the letting go happens first and then there's the celebration. So again, it's that sense of acknowledging that things need to change and then going about doing it. So, letting go, like not holding on to something that's not supposed to be for you anymore, and then you'll be able to find your peace. So kind of this right path, wrong approach is, rather than you giving off the impression that your heart is still in it and that you want to fight for it. If you don't want to fight for it, don't fight for it. Just let go, walk away, and then you'll be able to get your peace. So that was for Virgo and Capricorn. We have our King of Pentacles in reverse and the Tower in reverse. So there's kind of this, for Capricorn, there's kind of this energy, this King of Pentacles in reverse is kind of this like greedy, exploiting type of energy. And the Tower in reverse is like you're resisting this change coming in. So the message is coming through even louder for Capricorn, like that you're desperately trying to keep something in place, even though you don't really want it in place. Almost like you're trying to give that impression to everybody that, oh, I'm fighting for this. Oh, I'm, look at me, I'm trying so hard. But you're doing that. It's coming across that it's being done as more of a manipulative thing, so that way other people will feel sorry for you, like, oh, you tried so hard and it just didn't work out. The Tower in reverse, and I love that. I love this card in this deck. So, normally the Tower card, it's, the tower has gotten struck by lightning, there's people jumping out of it, and it's so, oh my gosh, and there's fires. With this one being a Jello mold, I love the idea that with the Tower in reverse, it's that feeling of, I'm trying to hold this together, but you're not going to be able to hold, particularly an inverted Jello mold, you're not going to be able to hold that together. I mean, for some split second worth of time, yes, you can, but just fundamentally, you're not going to be able to hold that tower together like that. And so it's a matter of like right path, wrong approach. So the divine is telling you, yes, this is something you need to let go of, something that needs to end, but stop trying to manipulate the way other people are going to see the outcome. Like, do it for you, do it so that you feel the best you can in terms of how you're doing it. So that was the message for our earth signs. And so next we will move on to our water signs. All right, so our water signs, that is going to be our Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. Let's see what wants to come through for you for this weekend. The Hierophant again. So there's definitely this sense of, and I was saying this with our earth signs as well, the sense that there's some traditional structure that needs to be let go. Like kind of there, with the Chariot in reverse, there's that sense of like there's a lack of direction, and there's some fear about letting go and making changes and moving forwards past these obstacles. And then, with your Four of Cups in reverse, there's also this sense of awareness, like you're afraid to let go and move forwards, but you know that you need to. And with the Judgment card, this does also have the sense of like awakening and rebirth, and like that sense of you're learning this lesson, and it has to do with these traditional structures that are in place in your life, and are they really serving you? Some, the traditional structures, obviously they were put in place however many hundreds of years ago in some situations, or traditional structures within your family, they served you at one point in the past, but just because they did in the past doesn't mean they're serving you now, or that they will serve you in the future. So it's that battle of needing to let go of it because it's not helping you right now, but you don't really know how to do it. And you're kind of afraid, but you know that you need to. And so with the Hierophant as well, it's the idea of some traditional structure, but also reach out to find a guru or a mentor or a guide or somebody who's maybe been through this that can help you navigate it, because you need to. Like, there's this awareness and this acceptance that this bad thing, or not even bad, this situation isn't working. I'm not living my highest good, like my best self, but I don't know how to change it. So for our water signs, a fiery climax approaches. So this is something that when when we're talking about like this fiery climax approaches, the fact that you know you need to do something about it and you're not doing it, at some point, the tower is going to come in. So you can either bury your head and pretend that it's not happening, or if you're the one that takes that first step forward and kind of leads the situation, you can direct it a little bit better. If you're playing catch up to whatever the universe is pushing at you, you're going to have a different result, and it's going to feel different than if you're the one that's actually taking the proactive steps to change something. And sometimes that's part of your lesson too. So if you put yourself in a position where you let it happen to you because you don't want to make those tough choices, you may see this lesson of having to stand up for yourself repeating in a different way in the future, because if that was part of the lesson, is for you to advocate for yourself, for you to do what's right for you. If you keep burying your head and make the universe take care of it, you may be stuck having to learn that lesson or play that lesson out in a little bit of a different way. All right, your goddess card is Vesta, home. Your household situation is improving either through a move or a healthy change in the occupants. So a healthy change in the occupants, if you're living in a situation, if you're living with a partner and it's not working and you just don't know what to do, kind of this a healthy change in the occupants could mean getting rid of some of the occupants. I mean, it could mean just having a healthier approach with some of them, but it could also mean that someone's leaving. All right. If not now, when? So this goes along with my comment about burying your head in the sand. If you're constantly, if you've acknowledged to yourself that things are not going to change, like that you've tried, things are not going to change, and now it's up to you to do something about it. This card is that, again, that nudge from the universe, like, now, why are you waiting? Why do you think the situation will be better, or that the outcome would be different if you wait another month, if you wait another 6 months? All right, so with our water signs, let's start with Cancer and see what additional messages are coming through for you. Two of Cups and Six of Swords in reverse. So there's a little bit with your Two of Cups. This is this companion partnership. So it looks like, you are going to be able to come together and have some of that happy feeling. Your Six of Swords in reverse is going to be like this, you're resisting positive change. So it's like you're resisting positive change, but you're wanting this companionship. And so like you're going to have to make some sort of a change, and this, it almost kind of reads like maybe you enjoy this person's physical presence, and that's part of like what you're worried about. How do I navigate without their physical presence, even though they're really not the right fit for me? So sometimes there's those sorts of issues, like you do feel a connection with them, but maybe your values and your goals don't align, and so it's putting you in that sense of, I don't really know what to do. So that was so with our Six of Swords in reverse, though, that's kind of this whole sense of you're resisting positive change. And let's see, I'll pull a timing card, if there's any indication as to when you'll stop resisting this positive change. So this is for our Cancer. Make it happen now. So that, if not now, when? So that's the message for Cancer, is if you have something that's creating some disharmony in your life, whatever that might be, don't bury it. Like, don't pretend to look the other way, like address it now. So that's for Cancer. Let's take a look at Scorpio. We have our Seven of Pentacles, and then we have the Star in reverse. All right, so our Seven of Pentacles energy, there's this sense of growth and reward. But then with the Star in reverse, there's kind of this little bit of sense of, I'll call it like lack of faith and kind of feeling like uninspired. So, you want to be able to move into this state of having these blessings, but you have to close out something else first. Because this other situation is leaving you uninspired, but something good wants to come in. And so a lot of times there's this energy of, if you're locked into something, there could be other better life experiences wanting to come in, but that they can't because you're already, your dance card is full. So until you make room on it, you're not going to have the ability to move forward in a positive way. So that is the message that is coming in for Scorpio. Let's take a look at Pisces. What wants to come in for Pisces? 8 of Wands in reverse and the Fool in reverse. So 8 of Wands in reverse, it's this sense of like bad timing, like things are slow, like maybe you've missed some good opportunities or some good chances to change this in the past, and it's slow. You're afraid to take that leap. You're afraid to move things forwards. But these cards here for our water signs, if not now, when? Because something big is going to happen. And do you really want to be in a situation where now your hand has been forced and maybe some of the other options, with this card, this 8 of Wands, this missed opportunities, maybe there were some opportunities to have changed the situation, got out of the situation, whatever you want to call it, and you missed those opportunities because you were too afraid to move forward. You were too afraid to take that leap. And now some of those options are off the table. And so if you wait until the very, very end, you may not have any options. It may be that this is what you got. So keep that in mind, that the longer you wait, some of these options may be taken away from you. All right, that was our water signs. Now we are on to air signs. So that is going to be our Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. All right, what's coming through for you? The Strength card. So this is that sense of, kind of persevering through it and really not giving up at this point. So don't give up. Like there's this fear of being trapped and there's this fear, like with the energies being imbalanced, but you're seeing it now for what it is. And you're accepting that some of those things won't change based on the current parameters, based on, what's happening right now. So there's a little bit of strength. Let's see how this reads, because it could go a couple different ways. So let's see how this is going to read. The end of a tough cycle approaches. And let's take a look at a couple others and then we'll pull it all together. So that's full moon in Capricorn. I don't know when that full moon in Capricorn is. Later this fall. Leap of faith. Take a risk and put your heart's true desire into action. So we have that one. And then let's pull another one of these. Then we also have no one cares, quit your whining. Okay, so with the Strength card, so kind of the two ways this can play, and we'll see how it plays out for each individual sign. So there's this this kind of like lack of, feelings of doubt and that things aren't changing, but you're seeing them for what they are. You're accepting that things aren't going to change, but the end of this tough cycle is approaching. So the Strength can either be, yes, things aren't going to change, but wait a little bit longer because there's other outside forces in play. So hold on just a little bit longer. Don't throw your hands up and say you're done just yet. So there's that read on it. And the other part of it with the Strength card is, okay, they're not going to change. So you need to have the strength to do what you know you need to do and make the change yourself. So it's a little bit, I'm not really getting a clear stance one way or the other. So some of this, I guess it'll depend probably sign by sign. What direction is your strength pushing you towards? Because, like we've talked about Judgment, this is like the end of the cycle is kind of approaching. So the Judgment card is that rebirth. Oops, that was a lot of cards flipping. So that sense of rebirth and, kind of this awakening and favorable judgment. So how do we do that? Gemini, let's take a look at cards for Gemini. You have the Hermit, and then you have the Empress in reverse. So the Hermit is going to be that that self-reflection and introspection. Usually the Hermit, in traditional decks, the Hermit is also carrying that lantern. So you're doing your deep healing work and you're lighting the path for others. In this deck, she is soaking in a bubble bath. She is taking care of herself and, having that quiet time by herself to be able to figure out what's going on. The Empress in reverse, though, this is going to be a little bit of like being closed off, a little bit more of a assertive masculine approach as opposed to that loving, nurturing Empress approach. So there's a little bit, and that kind of goes with the Strength card. It's a little bit more of that, okay, need to take some sort of action. So we'll see, and let's take a look from a timing perspective. When does it look like the end of this tough cycle is approaching? Let's see if we can get any more clarity on that. When you're ready. So some of it is that sense of, for Gemini, that, and with this leap of faith, take a risk and put your heart's true desire. So when you're ready. So there's a little bit of this back and forth energy. This definitely reads to me like this situation is related to a romantic relationship versus a work scenario. That was the feel that I got at the very beginning. But if you're feeling like, okay, I don't really know what to do, when you're ready, you're going to take this leap of faith. And so for some of you, this leap of faith is going to be, okay, I'm going to wait just a little bit longer. But if you do decide you're waiting, you kind of have to set that date in your mind and say, this is the date and I'm making my decision by, whatever that is for you, and stick with it so that you're not feeling like you're looping through these cycles. But some of this with the leap of faith about what is your heart's true desire, don't change what direction you're going because you're scared. So if you're moving towards whatever it is that you want, like sometimes it's going to take some extra strength because the universe will throw extra obstacles in there. So I was watching a video and it was talking about when, sometimes when things get really, really tough, it's, that's the universe's final way of testing you. If you've been trying to manifest something, that's the way of testing you to say, okay, is this really, really what you want? So there's going to be like a hard obstacle at the very end. Is this really what you want? Before you actually get it. And with this, no one cares, quit your whining. Some of that is a matter of, if part of your approach is waiting, like you're going to do this when you're ready, don't whine about it from now until then, because that's low vibe. That's just going to keep you looping. And it's going to, for one, it keeps your mind focusing on it because you just keep like restating the same thing over and over again. And also at some point, you don't necessarily want to be that person that's just always talking about the same thing. So if have the faith that the end of this tough cycle is approaching and adjust your plans accordingly, I guess. So that's for Gemini. For Libra, we have Three of Pentacles and the High Priestess. So Three of Pentacles, a lot of times this is seen as a twin flame card because it's divine masculine, divine feminine, and spirit all coming together for collaboration. And then the High Priestess, this is going to be that inner wisdom, divine feminine type of energy. So you are being pulled into a spiritual connection. So whatever these other obstacles are, it looks like you're finally moving past them. You're finally seeing that, okay, some things aren't going to change, so I need to move these pieces around. I'm being pulled by the divine to go in that direction. and to just take that leap of faith. Know that you only have to hold on for a little bit longer. The end of this tough cycle is approaching, but hold on and take that leap of faith with the divine, because the divine has your back, and that things are going to be moving in a positive direction for you, Libra. So that one's a little bit more straightforward. Very positive signs there. All right, Aquarius. Let's take a look at what is happening for Aquarius. Three of Wands in reverse and Knight of Wands. Is that Knight of Wands? Yes. So we have Knight of Wands, and then we have our Three of Wands in reverse. So a little bit of this, there's this adventurous energy coming in, this Knight of Wands, like courageous, adventurous energy coming in. But then there is, like with the Three of Wands in reverse, there's still this clinging to the past. And so that's kind of going along with the Chariot in reverse energy of like not moving things forwards because you're busy clinging to the past, even though you know that you shouldn't. But that, again, that looks like that's coming to an end. And with your leap of faith, like have that joy, have that courage to be able to take that leap of faith and move forwards. And let's take a look from a timing perspective. When does it look like this this Knight of Wands energy is coming in, this more courageous, hey, we're moving things forward. Let's see when that looks like it's coming in. For that. Once you forgive yourself. So some of it is, it's going to be for Aquarius, it's like you've kind of kept yourself trapped in this cycle, this looping cycle, because of the fact that you haven't forgiven yourself for something. So it's like you felt like you just can't move on from the situation because you're feeling guilty about it. And that's the energy that needs to be overcome. So that is what you're up against. Let's take a look at our fire signs. What is coming through for our fire signs for this weekend? That is our Aries, Leo, Sag. The Magician. So you are transforming your situation. You're transforming lead into gold. You are taking this tough situation that you didn't really think you could move out of, these things where you weren't overcoming these obstacles, and you're now seeing it differently and transmuting that energy. Communication is key. So that is, you've accepted what can't change, and the key to moving past this is communication. So if things aren't going to change, then what do you need to do about that? And it's interesting because the whole idea with change, as you're with somebody over a long period of time, you either one of you is growing and the other one isn't, or you're growing apart or you're growing together. And so it could be, whatever the situation is, either you two aren't growing together, so you're growing apart, or one of you is growing and the other one just isn't. And not saying that it's right or wrong, but if you're growing either in a different direction or, away from the person, if they're not growing at all, like there needs to be some communication about that. And that's how you're going to be able to navigate through this. That's how you're going to be able to close this cycle out. So you've accepted that things aren't going to change, but then now you have to do something about it. So in order to get favorable judgment from the divine, if you want to pass this course so that you can get your grade, pass it, and move on, you have to incorporate this. So if something's not going to change, what do you need to do about that? Because something has to be done about it. You can't just sit in this, oh my gosh, this is terrible, it's never going to change, it's terrible, it's never going to change. You can't sit in that energy. That's what you're being called upon to transform. All right. Your goddess card is Compassion. It's Kuan Yin. Release judgments about yourself and others and focus on the love and light that is within everyone. And so that's a matter of, if something is done, whatever the situation is, and it almost kind of comes across that there could be this element of, maybe there's a misunderstanding. Maybe part of this is you're just being judgmental about it, and you need to communicate about it a little bit more. But that's going to be that transformation, because if you two are kind of like butting heads or at odds with each other, you're just going to keep cycling through it. They aren't who you think they are. So this could be a matter of you've been clinging to something because you feel like that's what you're supposed to be doing. But when it says they aren't who you think they are, you have to ask yourself, why are you clinging? Because, and like I was using the example before of when two people meet and they decide they're going to be in a relationship, either you're growing together, you're growing apart, or one of you is growing and the other one's not doing anything. And, so who you thought they were when you first got together, it could be that they're just not that person anymore, which could be good or bad. When people say, oh, you aren't who you used to be. Well, if you've been in a relationship for 10 or 20 years, well, I hope I'm not the same person I was 20 years ago. I'd hope that I've grown. So it's a matter of seeing clearly who they are, and do your paths align? Do your visions align? And if not, having open communication about that. All right, so we will start with Aries. What message wants to come through for you? Four of Pentacles in reverse and Ace of Cups. So this Four of Pentacles in reverse energy, if you watch the channel regularly, you might remember this card was coming up like crazy for a couple weeks in there. I think over the course of maybe like 8 or 9 readings, I think it came out like 6 times as part of the energy. And this is that energy of overgiving and, almost like, hey, things aren't working. So if I double down on my efforts, they're going to work. But the thing is, if the underlying issue is that they aren't who you think they are, then you're just spinning your wheels. So spinning your wheels twice as hard or twice as fast isn't going to get you any better results if you're spinning your wheels. And then the energy that wants to come in is this Ace of Cups energy. So that's going to be that creative, loving, inspirational energy. So you have something good that's trying to come in, but what needs to happen is you need to stop dumping your energy into a situation that's not working. So with this whole line, like this overall energy of having these obstacles, but seeing the situation clearly, like, hey, we've had so many of these obstacles and they're not getting cleared out. And you're finally accepting that. So like, you're finally accepting that, like, it's this fear of being trapped, and you're realizing that that's never going to change in your current situation. You're accepting that that's not going to change, and, but you've still been trying to give to it, but you're realizing as all these pieces are coming together, they aren't who you thought they are. So you have a new start, like a fresh new energy, this loving, creative energy. So something new is trying to come through. Let's take a look from a timing perspective when that new love and inspiration is coming through for you. Around your birthday. So since this is for Aries, that's coming up pretty darn quick. Mid-March to kind of late April. So that's coming up pretty quick, that you're going to be able to get this fresh new start here. It's just a matter of stop giving to a situation that needs to be done. The other part, though, that reads with this is if you're trying to wrap up something, now is not the time to be greedy. So if this is about feeling trapped and about kind of having those doubts, but you're realizing that you're always going to feel trapped there. The Four of Pentacles in reverse on like giving, there's a little bit of that element of, you know what? Okay, if I just have to give one final push to be done, like don't be selfish and don't get drawn into arguments because you're trying to get everything you can out of the situation before you're done. Like, just finish out, type of thing, because something new is trying to come in around your birthday. And, so communicate, be compassionate. If if at this last little bit, it requires you to give some extra energy, give it so that you can clear this out, so you can pass this, lesson and have this rebirth. Because like the Judgment and then this Ace of Cups are going together, like this sense of rebirth, like, hey, you've learned from this situation. Now you're going to get something new, something better, something inspired and loving coming in. All right, Leo, the Devil in reverse, and Queen of Swords. So your Queen of Swords, this is, cutting away any of this nonsense. So your way of transforming the situation is to cut away this nonsense. Like, hey, I'm kind of seeing the truth of this, and I'm done feeling trapped. I see the truth of it, cutting through it. So clear communication, like with Queen of Swords, this is like that very direct, very clear communication, not going to sugarcoat it and dance around. And it's also a matter of breaking free from what is keeping you from your highest good. So the Devil in reverse is about breaking free from these things that keep you trapped. So if you've been feeling trapped, what are some of the factors that are contributing to you feeling trapped? And those are the things that you're breaking free from. You're breaking free from these bonds that you feel like are keeping you in that situation. All right. And last but not least for the day, we have Sagittarius. So Sagittarius, what else do you need to know? We have the Sun in reverse and Seven of Cups. So this is that energy of too many choices, and kind of feeling a little bit like uninspired here. There's some pessimism because you have so many choices and you don't really know, like, things aren't going to change, but I could do this, I don't know. So it's needing to kind of direct some of that energy and needing to change this pessimism, as opposed to seeing it as overwhelming that, oh, there's so many options, I don't know what to do. Looking at it like, hey, I've got a lot of options. So let's start looking at those. It's using that energy of, I have a lot of options. Let's start looking at those. How do I get myself out of this? I've got lots of different ways. So, let's just pick one of them and move forward, So, not that you want to carelessly pick whichever option, but know that you have multiple ways out of your situation. So go ahead and pick one and start making some progress there. So that wraps up today's reading. I hope that you found the information to be helpful. And as always, take only what resonates and leave the rest behind. There's going to be some additional videos posting over the weekend, so make sure you hit the subscribe and notification bell if you want to be alerted as to when those come out. Otherwise, I wish you peace and joy along your journey. Until next time.